Hey everybody, welcome to my plan with me for the week of September 16th through the 22nd. I'm using this Scribble Prints Co. Dark Arts Kit. I got this way back when it came out. I think it might have been a couple years ago. But this is the week that my friend passed away like a year ago. So I thought this was like kind of the perfect vibe since I am doing Harry Potter spreads in honor of him. So yeah, it's just very like dark. Dark arts. And then I've got some scripts I pulled in because I am going to a concert this week. So I've got some from Carly Plans and then from Mick Plans. And then for foil, I've got a foil bundle from Kristen's Planner in silver. So I do have one of the Dementors and then one of the Dark Mark underlays. And then I got the add-ons she had at the time as well. And then the rest of it is just like a basic confetti bundle. Her bundles are pretty different looking now, but I bought this when I bought the kit. And then for solids, I did get navy solids from Leonard Designs. So I'll get right into it. First, I just want to, warn that I am going to be talking about grief and loss, and if that's like too heavy, feel free to skip this video. But this week is the anniversary of my friend's death, so that's why I chose this kit specifically, and I don't know if I like how that looks. I also am probably just going to talk about him some because I'm not 100% sure this week was that busy, but yeah. So I'm marking 4 weeks until I believe it's Sabrina Carpenter, and then I'm just marking DC Fall Tour because I did have a concert I went to this week. So, I mean, obviously that was eventful, but anyway, so on Monday I had a pain flare still, but it was getting some better finally. And then I just kind of like set up all my stuff downstairs so that I could do some planning and stuff, but still be on the couch because I was still needing to take it easy physically and rest at this point. So the next thing I did was I pulled some stickers, and then I had a call from Sarah, and I watched Gilmore Girls. And then after that, I watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine while I had dinner with my husband. I played some Dreamlight Valley, and then I finished Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets because I was listening to it at this point. So yeah, that was my day. I did mention in my last Plan With Me how much my friend loved Harry Potter, and he is not a Ravenclaw. He was a Slytherin. I don't know why I said that because I thought he was a Slytherin and then I second guessed myself. I originally met him in sophomore year of high school because we were in driver's ed together, and at that point he was a new student to our school, so he had been living in Missouri prior to that. And I remember being like so impressed that his learner's permit was like a license, like it was plastic, just looked like a license, but it was a learner's permit, and ours were like pieces of paper. We didn't like hang out outside of school, but I mean, he was always nice to me, and we had a few mutual friends that I, again, didn't really hang out with outside of school much, but we knew some of the same people. And then fast forwarding to after graduation of high school, I got a job. I think I was actually like about to graduate because it was May. Oh my gosh, I did these boxes wrong. Well, that's okay. But anyway, I got a job at a movie theater, and he worked there. He had already been working there for a bit. I'm not 100% sure like when he got hired, but then we became kind of more friends at that point because we got to know each other through work. And until the law passed where employers had to like give you health care if you worked 30 hours a week on average instead of 40, I was working like 35 hours a week at the theater while I was going to school full time because I just wanted to get as much money as possible. I had to pay for like my books in college for a bit, and then eventually when I went to university I got student loans. But yeah, originally I was, having to pay for school expenses and of course just frivolous things that I wanted because I was a college kid. But I eventually became friends with some not super great people in college, and so he and I kind of drifted apart because they would throw parties and go out and stuff, and they would invite him, and I, to be quite honest, just wasn't the best friend. But he still stuck by me, and we were still friends. We just weren't like as close, and we had kind of moved past that. We're well beyond college. And so, as I got older and started kind of dealing with some other grief that happened during the course of my college experience, he was a really helpful go-to person to talk about it with because I was raised in church, and I was raised with the belief that everything happens because of God's will. And I'm not trying to get like too religious here, but after my dad died in February of 2014, and then my brother-in-law died that June on my dad's birthday, I was just really disillusioned by all of that. And I, at that point, kind of started questioning everything that I believed in, and he was a really helpful go-to person to talk about that with because my family was not in the same place with that. So I just didn't feel like I had a lot of places to turn to. And that's not to say that I didn't have my husband, because I was dating him at the time, but he was just not raised in church or anything like that. So it was just kind of a thing of like, well, we both went to church and then we kind of fell away from that. And he also knew my brother-in-law. They had had some game nights together. I had not realized that initially, but yeah, he did go to like my brother-in-law and my sister's housewarming party when they got their first house. So yeah, he was just definitely big part of my life. Whether it was during a time that we were close or not, I still cared very much about him. And it was almost kind of like, and later became much more of this, he was a brother to me. So I had talked to him about like moving to the area that we now live in, and the process was slow and it took us a couple years before we finally were able to like buy a house and especially find one in the area that we wanted for the price range that we wanted. So I unfortunately did not get to share that with him because we bought the house after he had already died. It was actually almost 2 months later exactly, because at that point it just became, okay, like we need to be closer to family and friends, and everything lined up for it, thankfully, to where we were able to. I am going to take a side note, and go back to what I did on Tuesday and Wednesday. So Tuesday, the first thing I did was I had therapy. I am so sorry for the camera shakiness. I have done literally everything I can possibly think of to make it stable, and it's just still not where I want it to be. But anyway, I had therapy because I figured since this anniversary was coming up in a few days, it would probably be a good idea to see my therapist again. And unfortunately, our appointment, she said some things that really rubbed me the wrong way and didn't make me feel like going back to therapy. So I'll see if I end up doing that. I can't start over with a new therapist. I've done that so many times in my life. I can't deal with it. So I might just have to have a conversation with her and let her know, because I have done that before in the past. So after that, I had a vinyl sesh. I was just kind of trying to do something that would make me happy after that. So then I got a call from an insurance company. So I was trying to get a life insurance policy for me because due to some health stuff, a few years back, I was not able to get a regular life insurance policy. I was only able to get an accidental death one. So for example, if I were to get really sick and I was in the hospital and ended up dying, my husband wouldn't get anything from my life insurance money. And I know most 32-year-olds don't think about this, but clearly I have had reason to think about it. So I wanted to do that. So I got a call from the life insurance agency and they were like, okay, well, we can definitely, help you out and all that stuff. And then they started asking a couple of questions. And then because of some of the medications I'm on and how they potentially interact, they would not give me a policy. And I was just trying to be honest, and tell them the answers that they were asking me, but they said no. So I had a mental breakdown because I was just extremely distressed about that. I am obviously not the breadwinner of my family, but I didn't want to leave my husband with literally nothing, or I guess I don't, if something were to happen to me. So that just really distressed me, and it triggered some of the other stuff I was dealing with. So after that, I did some test printing and formatting stickers. I drew. I finished foiling all my Halloween stuff, and then I read an audiobook. On Wednesday, I did some more reading this morning, and I was feeling mostly normal physically, thank goodness. I had another vinyl sesh while I was sitting there brainstorming tattoos I cannot afford, And then I did some drawing. I worked on the computer, and then I had a really, really bad headache because I had increased the dosage of my ADHD medications, and my doctor had warned me that potentially when they're wearing off, it could have a more extreme effect on me because I'm crashing from stimulants, essentially. He warned me about some of the stuff, but this night, my brain all of a sudden got so scrambled I couldn't think, and my head was really hurting. So I had a jam sesh, and then I just finished pulling some stickers this evening, and I could not sleep. I was awake until 4 a.m., which there's some sort of like sleep dysfunction disorder. I don't remember exactly what it's called, but I think I have it, but I haven't been formally diagnosed with it. It's just something that I've seen information about, and a lot of people with ADHD have it. I think Domi told me like what the real name for it is, but I've had problems with sleep for my entire life. Thursday, I had some plans this day, so I did shower and shave. I did some work before I left my house, and then I went to Corgs to go do a pickup because they had some really cute Halloween blankets, and they're the only place where I can find the like really big blankets, which I like. And also because my husband is 6'4", he needs a blanket that's taller than 6 feet. So I got that, and then I drove to Illinois, and I went to Walmart with Sarah because the same day she had gotten a couple of Halloween Squishmallows, and I was like, oh my gosh, I need one of those because she sent a picture of like the bin. So we went so I could buy one. And I left it at her house, but it's really cute. Then we picked up a few groceries, but I didn't mark that. And then I watched football with her and Christine. Christine came over because we're doing like a Thursday night football thing whenever we're all feeling up to it. So it was just the Patriots versus the Jets, which I don't really like either of those teams, but you know, it's just kind of something to do. And we eventually turned off the game and started watching videos of Taylor Swift, but like live performances she's done from the Eras Tour, from her 1989 World Tour, just fun stuff. And then Christine had to go home, and I was doing a bit of work while I was there too because I had new releases coming out the next day, so I had to like do listings and stuff. But once I got done with work, I made some bracelets because Sarah and I were going to the concert, not the concert, a concert the next day. And so I wanted to make some bracelets for like potential trading. And then she and I just kind of talked for a while. Oh, man, I'm gonna have to cut off his snake, and I'm not happy about it. Then Sarah did end up going to bed before me. I just wasn't tired yet, so I had a jam sesh listening to the Cab vinyl that we both have. And then I did some journaling because it was past midnight, so it was the 1 year anniversary, and I was just really, really in my feelings, so I needed to take time to like write that out. And then I finished the night by listening to Harry Potter 3. So I'm trying to remember where I left off, but I think I was talking about the movie theater. Oh, and then like past college. Through mutual friends, I kept up with Blake over the years. We didn't like consistently talk a lot until probably 2022. And I wouldn't say we were talking all the time, but we just kind of, I don't know, he reached out to me and was like, hey, you know, I keep up on what's going on with you in your life from this friend we have, but I just want you to know that like I consider you a friend too, and I care about you, and if you want to talk, I mean, we're friends outside of just being mutual friends. So that really meant a lot to me, and I definitely agreed. I've just kind of on and off been really crappy about communication, but he reached out to me after one of the times I had been in the hospital. So that was really meaningful. So I guess it's been more than 2 years, but probably like 2020 or 2021. Anyway, we both went to the same college and we were in Lifesavers Club in college together. So we were like hanging out with that. So I know I said we weren't as close in college, but that was partly just because there was a point in time where the friends I mentioned, I was spending more time with them because I knew they weren't real friends. They were party friends, and I didn't want to deal with my emotions at the time because my dad was sick and life was just hard at that point. So I didn't surround myself with people that would have been caring and listened to me talk about my feelings because I just didn't want to. I didn't want to face them. So we definitely did hang out some and we definitely did spend some time together, but it just wasn't like as much as I would have liked, I guess. So my birthday was on Super Bowl Sunday one year and he threw me a Super Bowl party / birthday party, which at the time I gave 0 F's about football. So I would just pick a team based on my favorite color, and the Ravens were playing the 49ers. So I picked the Ravens and they won. And I remember being all like, I was like, suck it, my team won, even though like he actually cared and wanted the 49ers to win. It was probably also because of his fantasy football, I would imagine. As time went on, as we got older and our lives got crazy, I lived in Kansas City and he lived in Florida, in Orlando when he was working at Universal Studios, and then moved back to Illinois. We just didn't see as much of each other, but I kind of started making a lot of trips to St. Louis and to Southern Illinois when I started going to a bunch of concerts again post-pandemic. I really screwed up. But I started doing that, and he wasn't a concert person, but I did get to hang out with him on some of those trips. He was a big St. Louis Cardinals fan, and so am I. So we went to some Cardinals games together, which I love going to Cardinals games because that was my dad's baseball team, and growing up, my family went to games together. So it's just a nostalgic thing that really means a lot to me and now has even more meaning. Wish it didn't. So we got to hang out more and like, I don't know, we would just talk about whatever. He was really the only guy other than my brother and my husband that I trusted to like talk to just in general, because I just have a really hard time trusting guys because of just my past. But I do remember a time where we had like a game night at his place and played Cards Against Humanity, and I was literally laughing so hard it hurt because it was just, I was loopy and it was just so fun and silly. He also, in the last like year or so, I can't remember the exact timeline of his life, became a business owner, which we both were in business school in college. He had a degree in, I think it was business management and entrepreneurship, I'm pretty sure. And I have a marketing degree, so we were in different parts of business, but still both in the same, like in the College of Business. So I know this seems like I'm all over the place, which I think I kind of am, but I just wanted to talk about him and share. So because the whole business thing, the reason I brought that up is because I started my own business, as you know, my sticker shop, and I know he'd be really proud of me. I tried to take a pause so I wouldn't be crying on camera, but that didn't work. The last thing I'm going to say, and then I'll just kind of move on to what I did in the week because I'm getting really emotional, is that September 20th, 2023, which is the day that he died, I was getting ready and like finishing my morning routine, getting ready to start drawing because I was ready at that point to go ahead and start my sticker shop. And then, as you know, I did not open it until May of this year, but I was excited. I was excited to tell him about it, and I'm just really sad that he didn't get to know that. And one more thing I do just want to add, because I don't want anyone to feel like I'm disrespectful. If you believe in, God's will or all that, like I was talking about earlier, I hold no judgment or anything like that. I honestly sometimes wish I had the hope that I feel like those beliefs can bring people, but I just don't. But I absolutely respect it. I mean, all of my family is like goes to church and everything. So yeah, just a side note. But Friday, what I marked is that it was 1 year, and then I did new releases, and then Sarah and I were hanging out because I had spent the night at her house. I guess I mentioned that, or you could probably have figured it out since I was at her house late at night. And her mom's car died at Target, so it was just funny because we had been talking about like, well, going to Target would be fun, but I don't know if we really want to drive all the way there because it's like 30 minutes from her house, which it's not that far, but like rural 30 minutes feels like it's far when you're used to not driving that far for things. So we ended up going because her mom needed her car jumped. So it was just funny how that worked out. But we had a good time shopping. We went around like the entire store, and then we went to a couple of craft stores and looked at beads and bought some of those. After that, I did drive home because we were going to be going to St. Louis the next day, and my house is closer to St. Louis, so I wanted to be back home for the night. And once I got home, I watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine with my husband, had dinner. I watched Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone again because it just felt right, and I was making bracelets and organizing beads while I was doing that because I wanted to make some more bracelets for the concert since I didn't get a ton done at Sarah's. And then I ended by reading more of Prisoner of Azkaban. So because of time, I'm not going to go over where all the stickers are from. Plus, a lot of these are closed shops or shops that don't offer the stickers anymore. But I did just want to mention my shop. So that is from my shop, along with all of those little characters like that, which is Corks and Corks Co. It is wine corks and corgis as characters. And then I do also offer some icons, and all the wine corks and icons at this point are drawn by me. The corgis are clip art that I've purchased, but the link is in the description if you want to check it out. So back to the plans. On Saturday, Sarah and I were getting ready, and then when she got to my house, I drove us to St. Louis like immediately because we were just wanting to get there as soon as we could because this was a concert that was GA only. So we wanted to be in the pit and we wanted to be really close because we really love the bands, which I guess I didn't say who it is. Boys Like Girls and Dashboard Confessional. So when she initially sent me the link to buy tickets, she just sent me the link and I bought us tickets. She didn't ask if I wanted to go or anything. And then I was like, okay, got them. And then the day after that, I saw that Boys Like Girls was touring with them. And I had wanted to see them at, I think it was Sad Summer Fest, but I wasn't able to make it to that because it just wasn't in a city close enough. So I was so excited, and she thought that was hilarious because she knew, but it didn't mention on the Ticketmaster link. It just was in the social media information. I guess I'm just going to keep talking about what happened while I put down the rest of the stickers. I am going to finish putting down stickers first, but that's okay. So when we got to St. Louis, we were going to go to Brick River, which is a cidery that we love there. But when we realized what time it was and that the doors were opening at 4:30, I think, or oh no, 5:30, but we got there at 4:30. We were like, yeah, let's just go ahead and get in line because we were concerned we weren't going to be able to get a good spot. And I will say that we definitely made the right choice because we got in line and there were at least 30 people in front of us, I want to say. So they let us inside at 5 because there's a bar. So if you're over 21, they'll let you in the bar beforehand, and it opened at 5. So we got to be inside for a bit, but then we actually got into the part where the concert is at 5:30. So I did buy us merch, which was like a chaotic experience. So we went online, looked at what we wanted, picked it out. I knew Sarah wanted 2 shirts. I wanted 2 shirts. Had the plan, executed the plan. But when I got there, they had a record by Boys Like Girls, which was a limited record online. Like, it's only ever been pressed once. And it's in a really pretty blue color, which is sold out online because I think they only sold limited quantities and they took the rest on tour. While the other 2 online are orange, and I didn't buy them because I don't like orange. It's my least favorite color. So I just didn't like how they looked that much. And I was like, well, I'm not going to buy it. Well, I asked, and of course they had the blue one at the concert. So I bought myself that, and then when I was at the dashboard table, because they were 2 separate tables, I saw that they had a signed copy of the Swiss Army Romance album. And not only was it signed, but it was pink, like splatter. It's beautiful. We both ended up getting it, but it was a lot of back and forth of oh, I really want it, but I mean, Sarah wanted it, but she was like, I don't want to hold it in the pit. And I was like, well, why don't I just go back to the car and put everything up because I already have a record and I don't want to hold it in the pit. So yeah, I went back to buy us 2 of them after getting all our shirts and stuff and my first record, and then you could only buy 1 per person, which makes sense. But I was like, oh my God, okay. So I sent Sarah out to go get hers. She got that and then gave it to me. And then I went back to the car and made it back to the pit. But we were in the second row of the pit. We met some really nice people that saved our seats or not seats, but our spots, when we had to take bathroom breaks or go get a drink. So, yeah, it was just a really good experience in the pit, and everybody was super nice. I even met someone that, works in the town I live in, which is so wild because the town that my address is in is not even actually the town I live in because the one I live in is so small we don't have a post office. So he apparently lives somewhere so small that he works in that small town that doesn't have a post office. So that was just wild to me. Of course I'm going to meet some people in Missouri that know where the area I live in is from. But to that specificity, that was just so unexpected. But he was really nice. We met some girls that were really nice. And then I also am so excited to report that I got to trade bracelets for the first time ever. And I guess there's this whole thing in rave culture of there's a hand gestures and stuff of how you exchange bracelets. So they had to teach me that. But yeah, I was super excited because I have never traded bracelets other than people giving me bracelets in the mail. Domi and I have traded bracelets, but I haven't traded them in person. And at the Taylor Swift concert, I hadn't made any bracelets because that was kind of newly a thing at the time. So I got a bracelet from someone, just one, but I wasn't able to like reciprocate. So yeah, this was just a really fun thing that I was like, oh my gosh, we can trade bracelets. So the actual concert, Taylor Acorn was the opener, and she was super cute. Her music was fun. I didn't really know it, but she put on a good show, which is definitely what you want in an opener. She had good energy. And then Boys Like Girls came on, and I suddenly shaved half my age off and was a 16-year-old again. I never got to see them until this day. And I mean, I was dancing, I was jumping, I was just acting like I'm not 32 and broken. And it was so much fun. They were just so extra in the best way. I mean, they came on stage smoking, which, like, I know smoking's bad, but it was I was just like, what is happening? That is definitely illegal. Like, I don't even know if you can vape inside in Missouri. You might be able to, but yeah, it was like, what is happening? So yeah, then they used cigarettes as like props throughout the show too. It was just cracking me up. But someone, or I guess ran into someone that I went to high school with. She was in color guard and I was in band. So it was funny. I always seem to run into people I know in St. Louis, but it is the closest city to where I grew up. So it's not that surprising, I guess. So then Dashboard Confessional came on, and that was a really good show. I unfortunately was in a lot of pain from how hard I was dancing with Boys Like Girls, so I was kind of struggling, but he put on a great performance. I guess they did, but I was speaking about Chris, the lead singer. You could just tell Chris was having such a fun time. And then for the song Vindicated, his son came out and played drums for it and did an awesome job. And I think his son is like preteen age. I'm not 100% sure, but just from how old he looked, that's my guess. But yeah, he did an awesome job, and that was really cool. And he was talking about like how special it was to have his son there. So yeah, that was a fun time. And then I just drove us home. We were really tired. So the next day, I marked that it was the first day of fall. Sarah did go home, and then I worked on closing the pool with my husband, which was kind of an on and off all day project because I didn't know how much stuff was involved, but you have to like put certain things in and then wait and then drain part of the pool. And yeah, it's just a lot. And I had no clue because I've never had a pool. So after that, I did some shopping for clip art on Etsy. And then I had a jam sesh. I was also looking at some of my concert videos and just like pretending I was there still. And then I kind of cleaned up once we had officially closed up the pool because there was a lot of stuff to throw out. Under our deck, there is like a storage area, but it's basically a home for hornets, or at least it became one as the year went on. So there were also a bunch of old pool toys that the previous owner had just left, and we didn't throw them away. So since the hornets were all gone, I went ahead and just tossed everything because it was nasty, dirty, old. You know, there were hornets' nests in some of it. So yeah, threw that out, and we're going to store our stuff inside because that was clearly not a good spot to store. So after that, I took a shower because I just felt gross. And then my husband and I did go out for dinner. We just, well, actually, I guess we didn't go out. We picked up some food at a local place called TJ's, and then I watched the Chiefs and the Falcons game. I was up late printing orders because I wanted to be able to cut them and ship them the next day. And I finished listening to Prisoner of Azkaban while I was foiling and planning. So that was my week. It was a hard week in a lot of ways and a good week in some ways, but yeah, I'm grateful that I had plans and I didn't just sit at home sad, because that definitely helped to get past this first big hurdle in grief. So, and I am really happy with how like the foil turned out. I think it looks good with the navy. So with that being said, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.